So obviously Endeavour is a great organisation. It helps a lot of people. So I was wondering what inspired you to set up this organisation.
And this kind of came to light one day when an elderly lady, well, actually, she probably wasn't. She's probably the age I am now, in her mid-60s, came to the refuge door, and she wanted a refuge space. She'd slept the night in a stairwell of a tower block across on Salford Precinct with her dog. And she came to the door asking for refuge, and we said, yes, we can find you space, but unfortunately that you can't bring your dog with you. And I always remember that day because she looked directly at me and she said, well, Barney's my family and I'll be going home then. And that's exactly what she did. And to this day, I don't know what happened to that woman, but it was a turning point in my life where I thought, people escaping domestic abuse, refuges and safe houses and homes have to be safe for every member of the family. And I think, especially in the UK, at any point in our lives, we can have adults living in our family, children, and also animals, so to make it easier for all members of the family to escape from abuse was the idea that's set up. Then it was the charities Pause for Kids.
That story, Carole, of the turning point is quite compelling. That must be repeated many times all over the country, but isn't what you do unique in terms of being able to take pets as well?
Absolutely. The Endeavour projects and Pause for Kids, the charity, are completely unique in the UK. They were the first organisation to look at the big picture, everybody who's in a family, adults, children and animals. So other organisations do it as far as they will look after the human, the human beings in the family, but then not look after the animals. And we've got animal welfare organisations who will look after animals, but not necessarily overlapping with the domestic abuse. Because one of the problems I found at the very, very early stages was when I was going to animal welfare organisations asking for help, they were saying, well, domestic violence, what's that got to do with animals? And likewise, when I was going for help to human organisations, they were going, well, we don't help animals. We only help, adults or children or young people. So that's why it was important to set Pause for Kids up, for all the people out there who didn't fit into those boxes. And it was not an option for them to leave any member of the family behind. Whether that be a human member or whether it was an animal member, they didn't want to leave anybody behind to suffer at the hands of their abuser.
But my understanding is you collaborate with a lot of other organisations in Bolton. Do you collaborate with national organisations as well? Because what you're doing sounds like it should be best practice and it should be followed by others as well. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. Endeavour has grown over the last 20 plus years, and we work in partnership with housing authorities throughout the Northwest, and further afield with animal welfare organisations, in particular the Dogs Trust and Cats Protection.
So what demographic is usually affected? Is there a particular demographic that's affected by domestic violence, and why is that?
I see domestic abuse has no boundaries really. So you know, whether that's whether you're looking at class or race or ethnicity or you know, sexuality. It goes straight across the board really, and it's, you know, because you're talking about somebody controlling another person, and you know, whether that's physical, mental, financial, sexual, and of course now, which has been in the news a lot lately, we've got coercive control.
So do you think social media has actually given rise to more domestic abuse, or has it been instrumental in rise of domestic abuse?
I wouldn't say the social media has made domestic abuse worse. It's just give it another platform to you know, to kind of control people.
Carole, I've been told that you're the only woman to have won 2 Inspire Awards, and now I know why. Carole Marsden, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Thank you.
You've recently retired. What are you doing now? How is life treating you now? Are you busy? What are you doing? I'm just curious. It's not part of the interview, just curious.
Well, this isn't the retirement year that I had planned, obviously, with this dreadful virus, really. I was hoping to do a bit of travelling this year, which obviously hasn't happened. I mean, the voluntary sector, it will always be part of my life and in my blood. And in December, I helped out with Urban Outreach, who were doing the Christmas food parcels and deliveries. And it was completely different than what I did for Endeavour, but I really enjoyed it. You know, I really enjoyed the voluntary work with Urban Outreach, and it's certainly something I would do again. At the moment, I've found myself, because I am quite fit and active, I've got, there's a few neighbours and also 2 of my friends who are shielding. So I'm doing kind of shopping runs for them and making sure they've got their medication and things like that. But on a personal level, what I've kind of like found is I'm growing vegetables for the. And I'm really enjoying it. I've changed I've got only a small back garden, and I've changed it into a vegetable patch. I've dug up at the side. So at the moment, I'm quite proud that I've got broad beans and potatoes, radish, runner beans. Oh, I've got quite
wow.
Beetroot I've got growing, all just small things, but hopefully if I can keep the slugs and snails away from them, I'll be able to, I'll be having vegetable stews and things before long.
That's nice.
What you're doing is so good, it should be being done everywhere. And I hate the thought that the turning point you had is repeated so often, but with the same result, where people say, no, I can't go because if I can't take my pet with me, they're part of the family.
I think you're absolutely right. I think just, you know, people need to be chipping away at it though, because I think it, you know, speaking just for myself, if you're always waiting for somebody else to come up with a solution or you know, something else to happen, things don't, do they? You know, and I think those wheels can turn very, very slowly sometimes. So it's kind of, it is about thinking, well, I might only be able to do a bit of this, but that's better than it not being done at all. You know, so and I'm a big believer in kind of you know, women helping women who then help women who help other women. And it's a domino effect, isn't it? You know that, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yes. Carole, can't thank you enough. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic.
Good. I'll go back to my job at McDonald's now. Then. Would you like a milkshake with that?
The answer is yes.